Now, guys, welcome back to the pod, and we got a special guest with us, the outlier Madeline. Today, we're beginning with talking about the fall of masculinity. So, let's start with that topic, and let's start with it.
It's great to have Kevin on today, who's a big speaker, big public speaker in the realm of masculinity. He hosts his own podcast with two other people, Gatekeepers Podcast, which is a very, very good podcast. I've got a question that's completely off topic in a minute, though. What's happened to Ali? Does he still talk to you guys?
Say that again.
What's happened to Ali? Does he still speak to you guys? Because he's never on the podcast anymore. Yeah.
Oh, he's lost interest in the YouTube scene, so we're just gonna keep carrying on. He's always free to come back and hop on a podcast with us, but for now I don't think it's looking likely.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, just because I was a bit worried about him, to be fair, because I remember he had that he had like a bit of a spiral, didn't he? Something to do with his mental health. I don't know. I wasn't completely in the loop, but
he's doing better now though. But yeah, I don't think he's coming back to YouTube. But who knows? He might.
Yeah.
Ale, if you're watching, bro,
come back, bro. This is your call. We need you back in the YouTube scene. He definitely had potential. Definitely had. That's a good topic to start on, though. We could speak about the fall of men's mental health in general, and where do you think that stems from originally?
Well, if you want to ask me personally, I do not think it is by accident, right? I think everything is done on purpose. If you want to call it done by the higher ups or the elites, whatever name you want to put on them, I think everything is, played out in a certain type of way, right? With the rise of social media and with the rise of all these different platforms that are coming out, you think it would make everybody more connected, but it has actually divided so much people, right? Nowadays, the modern man is extremely lonely. All these platforms to talk to people and, reach out to other people, but yet we're so divided. We can't even speak to one another. Everybody is hateful. Everybody is nearly against each other. There's left, right, there's, all these different groups just all against each other. And I think, they want us to be divided this way because we're easier controlled and we're in our own little smaller groups rather than we're all together as humanity. The rise of social media has really divided us, and it has made us very, very comfortable, I believe. Just look how easy things are. We've got, if you want to get a girlfriend, you hop on Tinder, a few little swipes and you've got a girl. There's stuff like prawn, there's everything, right? You can get instant pleasure from this phone, and that in itself is very detrimental on the mental health. I believe men should go through suffering. They should go through hard work. They should really be out there, in the trenches, using, their strength, if that makes sense, right? They should be out there building that mental fortitude within, right? And most modern men today, they lack purpose. And whenever you lack purpose, you will fall more into the pleasure, right? This is why I'm always talking about men, like, find your purpose. If you don't know what it is, just get out there and do something, right? Even if it's just, I don't know, even if it's just a podcast, right? If you just got to set your mind to something. Like, so many people, they don't have anything that they're setting their mind to. They're just going by day, just going with the flow. It's a very feminine mindset, right? This feminine mindset has been breathed into us, man, since we were boys. Being taught to just sit down in your chair like a good little boy in school and just raised to not really do any masculine things as a boy. You kind of grew up very, very feminine. And when you grow up with all this feminine energy around you, all your teachers were most likely females, and we never really had those masculine role models to look up to, right? We've grown up with this feminine energy, and we as boys, we grew up very feminine, and this threw us off of our natural balance. Our natural way should be, masculine. And when we're in our feminine, it breeds so much mental health issues. A lot of people do not even realize this. It's crazy, like, the amount of people that don't realize it. Like, you can just take one look at TikTok. You know what I mean? The amount of people that are against masculinity in general, it's crazy, right? It's almost like a sin to be masculine nowadays. You're almost put down for it. I don't know. Have you guys experienced anything like ever being put down for trying to be too masculine in your lives?
I think, yeah, 100%. I was going to say, like, it feels like that all the time. It almost feels like you've constantly been suppressed. And to an extent, I feel like you can get on here and talk so much about being masculine, being like the most macho guy and speaking out for what you believe is right. But when you put in those societal positions, when you're actually in a conversation with people who all say blue pilled and all believe in like the new thing, the thing that's been talked about on the big stage, you almost, for social acceptance, you also almost self-suppress yourself. And I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, but I think that is pointing to the fact that we should be able to build communities of traditional ways of society. Like we should promote being men, we should promote being women, we should promote the masculine and the feminine. But yeah, 100%, I feel like just day to day, you become so suppressed that you almost suppress yourself. And it's like, you can't express the masculine energy in the ways you want to. So it sort of becomes bottled up. And if you imagine suppressing yourself so much that the energy has really nowhere to go, so it becomes erratic. And then you engage, the remaining energy is basically put into things that aren't necessarily healthy. So like, yeah, porn, like Tinder and stuff like that, going out drinking, like raging and things like this, like rage culture. I remember watching what was it? It was about a festival, Woodstock in 1999. I watched a documentary on it, and essentially all these kids went absolutely crazy during this festival, and they were angry at the promoters and the people who facilitated the festival because they basically just like treated them like farm animals, and the energy just was dispelled in these fiery ways where people were literally like making fires and tearing buildings down and things like that. And I think that is just such a good focused meta analysis on how society will behave if men are kept caged. But I genuinely think there is a turning point coming where people are, like, men are getting angry and they're starting to realize that we have been feminized. But then society creates these distractions and things for people. But to be honest, I really do think that people are starting to lift the wool off their own eyes and see that those are just distractions, and we should return to the masculine and the feminine. So yeah, to sum up your point, I think you're always suppressed as a man in today's day and age. I really think it's hard to it's just because we've moved so far away from our natural ways that it almost becomes impossible, and it feels unnatural to behave in any other way than we've been programmed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So like,
what about you, Ngombe?
Yeah, it's like, you see, if you try to show your masculinity, the average NPC will say that you're toxic.
Yeah.
yeah, toxic masculinity. Like, we all here know that doesn't exist, but that's what society says, just to make men more weak and to make the mental health of men much worse. And I'd like to give this analogy to compare masculinity with the snake. We all know that a snake is toxic, just like how society says that a man is toxic if they become more masculine. Like, we all know that with a snake, its most dangerous weapon is its venom. A snake is useless without its venom. A man is useless without his masculinity. That's how I kind of see it, to be fair.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I fully agree. Like, I think it's definitely not an accident, because we just take one look at the media, what's being pushed, what's popular nowadays. Like, look at all the shows on Netflix and all the main popular things coming out of Hollywood over the past couple of decades. It's all been to empower the female, right? And now I've got nothing against females and female, that sort of narrative, but the way they're pushing it's to make the female come into their masculine, to get them out of their femininity, to throw everything just out of balance, right? Like, just look at I don't know, for example, shows like The Simpsons and whatnot, like all the male, father figures, they're all absolute idiots. Look on Netflix, most of the male, actors and the people that they try to portray as like the men in the modern media, they're all idiots. They've got no masculinity. They've got no, they've got no good traits that people can almost look up to. Now, why do they do this? I believe they're trying to do an attack on the father figure, essentially so that they can influence the kids more, right? Because when a kid does not have a good father figure, his energy is diverted out into the outside world, right? Just all you got to do is take one look at how we say it, a wild kid, right? Let's say there's a kid, he's involved in gang violence, or even a girl, right? She's out, let's say she's got an OnlyFans account or whatever it is, right? You look into their life, 99% of the time they do not have a good, male role model. They do not have a good father figure in their life, so they end up becoming wild, right? And they want to do this attack onto father figures simultaneously while pushing propaganda and influence onto kids in school. This is why we're seeing a lot of these. I don't want to get your your channel taken down or anything, but just a
Go
lot of
on.
let's just say it like this: propaganda that has been put into the school system from kids that are very young, right? And now they're growing up, all this stuff being flooded into their mind, and without that proper male father figure to look up to and for them to guide them, they're confused. They've got this different mindset now on their head, right? They're confused, and now I don't know about you, but the next generation, like, it's not looking good. I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah, it's kind of scary when you think about it. So this is why I kind of talk about this stuff a lot. Like it's so important for people to know and realize. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, like you say, when you haven't got a solid father figure, I'm not saying I don't have a solid father figure. I think my dad does the best he can and I appreciate from everything he does, but I think he's quite feminized. But I think when people don't have father figures in their life, you almost look to government as a father or the world. You're always looking for, when you're a kid, you're always looking for things to imitate and people to imitate. So if you don't have a father figure who's telling you do this, do that, you're just going to look to modern media and popular culture. That's going to become your father almost, and you're going to take the morals and ethics from that, and that's going to internalize and manifest you into essentially the child of the world. Yeah, I 100% agree. Like it's like the role reversal where the woman is almost taking the place of the man in today's day and age, where it's like females are taking the toxic masculine traits that they say are so bad for men to have. Like you'll see shows like She-Hulk and things like that, where she's just an outright, I don't know if anyone's seen the show. I haven't actually seen it, but I've heard really bad things about it. I've heard it. But it's the whole show is just drivel about how men are awful people and don't deserve anything, and they don't work for anything, and they're all stupid, and all my problems are because of men, and but then the whole show they don't do anything to show how, like, there's no good representation of females. It's just them being shown as men, if that makes sense. It's completely like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say toxic masculinity is bad and then write your characters or portray people in popular culture that are toxically masculine. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like they're trying to feminize men and masculinize women, which is sort of a role reversal. It's like a flip. And then on the note of, like the trans stuff in today, it's a bit like, what's going on? Like, why is there this ambiguity and creating confusion for kids about what gender is, and why are they trying to manipulate and change gender? That I've got a question about that. Like, why do you think that could be the case? Like, why do you think they're trying to, if that's your opinion, why do you think they're trying to change the roles around?
Well, I think you always got to look at it from their point of view, right? Let's say you're a so-called leader of the world, right? Let's say you've got some sort of power. Try to put yourself into their shoes. Now, why would you try to manipulate people, try to change people's minds into thinking a certain way? And I've thought about this for a long time, and the same answer that I just keep coming back to is to just remain in power. When you have a population of weak men, you can remain in power for as long as you want, you know? Nobody's really going to rise up against you. When you have a population of men who are confused and they put all of their energy into all of these small little issues. Oh, what gender am I? All this BS, like, you know what I mean? Like, the population is confused, man. They don't know what they're at. You have so many people going to college to study gender. Like,
Yeah,
like what the hell is that all about?
not
man?
really a real subject, is it?
When you think about it, like how stupid is that? Like that's what your life has amounted to. Do you know what I mean? Like these people are lost and they just need to be guided. We need to bring back masculinity. And these people, I just think they just want to stay in control. They want to stay in power for as long as they can. And I think they'll do whatever they can to stay in power, right? I believe Andrew Tate he put it very good. He said it before that um I can't remember the exact way he said it, but I'll rephrase it, paraphrase it. Right, let's say you're in school and you're doing a test. Yeah, how many of you guys have ever cheated on a test or seen your friends cheat on a test?
No,
Eh,
thanks.
yeah, I cheated a few times, but like not openly.
Yeah, but like humans by nature, they always look for the easy way out of things. Yeah,
True.
like it's just by nature. We always try to go for the comfortable route, right? Now, do you think the people above us, the higher ups, the elites, do you think they won't cheat us to stay in power? No, of course not. They're gonna cheat their way. They're gonna lie. They're gonna throw in propaganda and manipulate us and whatnot to stay in power. Of course they are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're talking about the basketball analogy that Andrew Tate uses, where it's like having a game of basketball 1v1, and whoever wins gets 10 grand. It's like you saying you wouldn't cheat to win that 10 grand. So it's
Yes, that's
basically
the
saying,
one.
like,
Man.
yeah. Obviously, you're going to cheat. So why wouldn't the people at the top cheat to get ahead? Yeah.
Yep, that's
It's
the one.
like
Yeah.
it's like the saying, absolute power corrupts absolute. It's
Mm.
almost like it's in human nature to just become corrupt at some point. And I think it's almost cyclical. I think we on this channel, being the occult pod, we often talk about the cyclical nature. I think Engel would agree. It is that as bad as it is, I think it's also something that's just completely cyclical and out of our control, and we should stay neutral and not get too angry over it, if you know what I mean, and just try and stay in your own bubble and not let things outside of your control affect you so much. It's like the cycle. What is it? Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men create hard times create strong men. It's that cycle. It just keeps going and going. And it's like the serpent. What's the Ngobi? What's the thing called? The serpent. I forgot what it's called.
Well,
Now.
that bites its own tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Greek word. It's called the Ouroboros.
The Ouroboros. There you go. So it's like it's biting its own tail. It's just going back around in circles constantly. And obviously, we have a lot of representation of the serpent in today's society, in culture, like you see in the WHO's. Their logo is a serpent on a staff, and obviously you have the story in the Bible. I know you're a Christian. So it talks about obviously the story of Eden and the devil coming down as a serpent. But I wonder if you think that story has any validity, and do you think that we are heading for hard times in the very near future? And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Good point. Yeah. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I definitely think we are heading for hard times. How soon is it? Who knows? Who knows? I think it can be a good thing, you know? there will be a lot of bad things about it in itself, but I think for the overall narrative to play out, I think it will be a good thing. People's eyes need to be opened to the truth, and people need to realize like they've been living a lie their whole life. They've been living in their own comforts for far too long, and sooner or later they're going to get called out for it, I believe. But the good thing about it all is I think it will bring rise to a new level of masculinity that we need. And yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think we're going into hard times or what?
I'll let you go, Gombe.
Me personally, I see both sides to it. I think the hard times you see with the NPCs, you can't wake them up at this point. There's too many feminine men, so it's like, if you follow conspiracies, hear about the Great Reset and what happens to all the people when there's a reset. Do they just get wiped out? So that's why I think if this society gets destroyed in a sense, there'll be a new society. And would that be full of masculine men? Possibly. But I also think this world could be heading into a more equal world in a sense, because if you think about God, created what we call, we call humans, the emphasis on man, you got man and woman and mankind and even female. So it seems like this world originally was designed to be male oriented. And then over time, because change happens due to time, it seemed like that male oriented world has faded away to become more equality. And I think that the key point with the equality thing was when they allowed women to vote. Now, I'm not misogynistic, but like I think maybe that was the starting point to where they're now pushing like the equality and gender pay gap and all that nonsense.
It all started with the women being able to vote. We should we get
let's go back further. It all started with women.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Like,
I'm joking.
If in all seriousness, like for women that are saying like about politics and politics isn't even real in the first place, so it doesn't matter if I get attacked for it.
Yeah,
That's
it's all an illusion.
Definitely.
So Kevin, what would you recommend men do to make themselves stronger in the modern world? What sort of things do you do, either on the daily basis or on a just in general life? Like, what do you think is a good thing to do to be able to be masculine?
Well, you definitely need to get yourself out of the comfort zone, right? I think every man should be getting themselves in the gym and into some sort of martial art just to constantly take yourself out of that comfort zone and to humble yourself. There's a lot of things that you can learn, not only physically but mentally, just by going to just by getting hit in the face. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people just need to experience that a couple of times in their life to, I don't know, take them out of this illusion. Because like, what does it do? It takes you out of your comfort zone. When you are too comfortable as a man, you throw all your purpose out the window. You don't want to fight for anything. You don't want to stand up for anything good, right? And when you've got the majority of men thinking this way, you're just going to be controlled. But if you got the majority of men who will stand up for something, they're not afraid of a bit of confrontation. They're not afraid of these things. Society's going to be better. So I think you should strive to do something that you are afraid of nearly every day if you can. Like, I try to do something that I'm afraid of every day. And what this does, it keeps me on the edge of that. What will you call it? Just the edge at the edge of your. I don't know. I don't know what you'd call it, but
on the edge
keeps you on your toes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what that does is it builds mental strength. It builds mental fortitude. We see a lot of people nowadays, they're soft. You say one thing towards them and they're nearly breaking down crying. They can't handle it. This whole effeminate society is breeding softness to where words are now extremely hurtful nowadays. Like, people are, I've seen many people, like, well, I heard stories of people like committing suicide over the words they've received off of people, and it's just a sad state to be in, you know.
So I think when you do something so fearful, you realize that your problems, like your smaller problems that you worry about every day, are really inconsequential and don't really make a difference to your day-to-day life and shouldn't affect your mental health. But I think I need to do something like martial arts because it's something I've always been debating, but I've just never got around to doing it. What would you say the most common thing for you to do, like on a daily basis, is to get you out of your comfort zone? So something that you fear every day. Is it something big or is it something small, like a cold shower?
Yeah, definitely the cold shower. Like I think no matter what you do, the cold shower will always feel uncomfortable. There's many things we can do in our life, like go to MMA and whatnot, but over like a long period of time, it will become comfortable again because we get used to it, right?
Mhm.
But what I found is no matter what, every time you get into that cold shower, it's always uncomfortable.
Yeah, man.
Every single time, man.
Yeah, it's never easy, is it? It's never easy. You expect it to get easier.
Yeah.
You really do.
It's like for me, man, like when I first did doing cold showers, I changed the water to hot again, but I thought like this, I'm gonna stop that. Just get into a cold shower and do it. And every time, man, it's pretty hard, but you get used to it. And it's, it never gets easier actually. Like I thought it'll get easier, I'll get used to the cold, but you never do. But yeah, it's crazy.
But I don't know about you guys. After you do something extremely uncomfortable, something that you're like afraid to do, once you complete that, the level of relief, just the level of satisfaction and feeling proud of yourself, like that feeling is one of the greatest feelings in the world. Like after a cold shower, or let's say after that sparring session that you've been putting off for so long, after you do it, you just feel so good, you know?
Yeah, it's like the rest of your problems in your mind get silenced because you've accomplished something. Whether that comes from a boost in testosterone, something physiological, I'm not really sure. But I know for certain, 100%. Once you've done something that's quite hard to conquer, you've accomplished it. You're like, yeah, go on, I can take on the whole world now. Have you ever tried an ice bath? That's something I want to try. You've never tried an ice bath?
No.
Maybe you should try that. I think I'm going to try it. But it's something you've got to build up to. I think. I don't think you can just do it straight away because it's just such a big mental challenge. And then I was thinking, like, where are you going to get the ice from? Do you know what I mean? Like, you need a lot of ice to fill up the bath. And I'm going to look a bit weird, like taking my ice upstairs and pouring it into the bath. My parents will probably think I'm insane.
Yeah.
But I don't know where Ngombe's gone now. He's still there.
I'm back.
Oh, no worries, mate. Thought he disappeared.
No.
But yeah, Ngombe, have you got any questions, Kevin?
I'm just wondering, what made you decide to be more masculine?
I just see so many people nowadays like being weak, submitting to weakness, not standing up for anything. And I look at that with a level of sadness, a level of even a little bit of anger, you know? I know it's out of my control and I shouldn't really, feel for it too much, but I just do not want to end up like that because I grew up very weak and I had so many mental health problems because of it. And once I started to become more masculine, tried to boost my testosterone, go down that path, I've noticed a lot of my mental health problems just disappeared. So I'm like, this works. Like this is it. Like people need to know this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, I agree. Like, I think that's probably the case for 99% of men who are on this journey where it's like they've suffered so long with mental health issues just because they've been told whatever they're doing is right. Like, prawn's good for you. Be a feminine, play with Barbie dolls and stuff like that. And then you get old and your body's out of whack and you feel old, you get headaches and things like that. And brain fog. You're like, why am I getting this at this age?
Yeah.
And then you'll go to the doctors and doctors will just say, this isn't a smite against the medical industry, but it's like they'll just prescribe you some drug that they've read the notes on. And they're like, oh yeah, have this. And then it just makes you worse. But yeah.
No, yeah. Just makes it worse. I found like the best way to live is nearly the most natural. Like I don't ever really go near medicine. I'm not gonna
No.
recommend people to live like me, like, because I know in some certain cases you will need medicine, but for the majority of your cases you don't need medicine. There are natural remedies to everything. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I try and veer away from medical procedures. Well, not procedures, but like medical
Yeah.
drugs and stuff like that as much as possible, because I know how much it can fuck with you. Like it's a band-aid. The thing is, it never gets down to the root cause. It always just addresses the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just putting a band-aid over what the issue is,
Yeah,
and then you're not getting down
that's
to the root, and it's not solved from the root. So it's going to come back again eventually.
Absolutely.
Always. I think you just need to drink raw milk. That's all you need to do.
Or
That's
water.
it, bro. 100%. There's 5 seconds
okay.
left on this. Is that all good?
Yeah.
With my raw milk. Hey guys, this is raw milk. You can pick it up from anywhere, like a local farm or something. It's really good for you. Great nutrients. Yeah. Good for your balls. No, I'm just saying, yeah. So having natural things, from living the most natural you can. Today, I literally went to, it's kind of weird. It's not weird, but I was looking into spring water, like, because obviously tap water's pretty terrible. And obviously there's a lot of chemicals. I don't think it's so bad around Yorkshire. I don't know how it is in Ireland or Birmingham, but I know, like USA and stuff, it's terrible. But I decided to take myself to a local spring. And I sat there for like 20 minutes filling up a load of bottles with spring water. So I'm going to try that later. But yeah, it's about returning to how natural we were back in the day. And obviously, like, you know what I mean? Living as natural as possible to accommodate for our bodies.
100%. I agree. I think the water in Ireland is pretty bad as well from the tap. There's a lot of fluoride in it and whatnot, which is just a no-go. Hell no, I ain't drinking that. Yeah, I fully agree. Like, we should definitely return back to nature. There's even some like scientific studies into how beneficial just standing beside a tree is for our bodies. Yeah, like there's stuff right in nature that is actually like, it's like a healing property to us. And then there's actually stuff in technology, like computer screens, phones, that is actually like a damaging process for us. I can't think of the actual scientific wording. I think it's called like negative ions and positive ions.
Yeah.
Like they like affect the body, right?
Yes.
And I think the nature, it gives off negative ions, which is actually beneficial for your body. And then the computer screens and all that is positive ions. And like, I've even noticed, like, even just going out, standing on grass barefoot, just feeling so good after it. Have you guys ever like experienced like doing that?
Yeah, I've done that before. It feels very refreshing, actually.
Yeah, grounding's fire. I love grounding. Sometimes I did it the other week where I went for a walk, and I was walking along like the side of the canal, and I was barefoot, and I had to give up after a while because it was hurting so much. But then you look at people across the globe in like countries like Africa where they don't have shoes and they just walk like that everywhere. So I think it's quite unnatural for us to not be able to walk on hard surfaces. I think back in the day people would have just been walking without shoes.
Yeah.
Obviously today you have things like glass sliding around and things like that that are actually going to damage your feet. But I do think there should be a lot stronger. And yeah, like you said, like it's a positive process that your body goes through when you stand on grass because of like the negative charge you get, which is I think this is the science behind it. I think it's when the earth, obviously like a lot of mineral things build up under the surface of the earth, and there's like lightning, when lightning strikes, it charges the earth essentially, so you're picking up that charge and that helps charge your body. I think, I could be completely wrong, but yeah, like you say, yeah, there's things you can do like that little, and sunning your balls as well. I was going to ask Zell about that, but it's not here, is it?
Yeah.
Do you ever sun your balls to boost testosterone?
I would like to give it a try, but there's nowhere to do it without getting caught. You know what I mean?
I've
You
only
just go
done
to a
it
random
once.
field.
Just some random field. Like, most fields are owned over here. And farmers just come and go as they wish. Like, imagine a farmer just comes along and they just see me in the field, just
You know what I mean? I've only done it once. I've done it at like on top of a hill where I just saw the sun. So yeah, don't know if I'll do it again though. It's quite hot afterwards.
To be fair, I don't think you're supposed to do it like for that long, are you? I think you're only supposed to do it for about 5-10 minutes at a time. I don't really know the science behind it, but
yeah, especially since like we kind of went our whole life without getting any sunlight on it, so it would be like quite sensitive to the sun. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. That's another thing about being ill. People are always like, "Oh, if you feel ill, you should sit inside and avoid the sun." And I really think that's completely backwards. I think if you're ill and you stand out in the sun, you feel a lot better. I feel like I know you probably shouldn't do it, but I've started going to the sunbeds, not regularly, but like once every month. And I genuinely do feel a lot better after I've been, because I think it's the vitamin D exposure. But we're told in modern media and things like that it's really bad to be out in the sun, which I think is completely backwards. I think it's like they say everything essentially natural that's always been here and has predated humans is bad for us. So it's like, why would we be designed? Why would God design us to be incompatible with the things around us? Do you know what I mean? Surely he'd put things in the game, or whatever you want to call it, into this reality that would almost complement our physiology. Physiology?
Yeah, physiology.
Yeah. I think I was trying to say about 3 different words there.
Yeah, no, it's facts though. Like, so many people are so misguided. Like, you don't even really need sunscreen. Like, when you look back, right, with the rise of sunscreen coming on, like the invention of sunscreen, the rise of like cancer rates because of sunlight went up like so much higher. I believe it is due to the sunscreen. It's weakening our skin and it's not making us as resilient to the sunlight. I believe everybody should be getting, like, everybody should get sunlight onto their skin every single day, right? But a lot of people are just sitting indoors, not really doing anything. So when they go out, they get burnt, and then they think they need to put on more sunscreen and whatnot, and it's actually making you worse off. I think a good remedy, if you are not used to the sunlight, is just use some olive oil on your skin or some coconut oil. Much better.
Yeah.
Who needs sunscreen when you've got the sun?
What's that, bro?
We've got what?
Who needs sunscreen when you have the sun?
Yeah, bro. There we go.
Exactly.
It's a cure in itself. But Roflo, I heard you speaking about God. Have you changed your mind on your standing on God? Do you believe in God now?
I don't think I ever said that I didn't believe in God. I do believe in God. I just don't know in what way I believe in God, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I do genuinely, I do believe that there is a God that created this reality and all that jazz. I'm just not sure to what religion that I'd be tied to, if that makes sense, if any. Do you know what I mean? I think me and Ngombe, the whole premise of this channel is the exploration of God to an extent where we're like, possibly it's a simulation. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like God can still be God in the biblical terms, but does that necessarily mean he's not just someone above this reality, if you know what I mean, that's just created us?
Yeah.
What's your opinions on that? Obviously, you'll probably take.
So what do you mean by, like, what do you mean by he's just someone above us that created us? So do you think somebody created him, or do you think there's more people like him above us? Do you get me?
I almost think that, there is multiple realities, and I don't know if you've heard of the Russian doll. It's essentially this idea that reality is just stacked upon realities, and reality keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So like the reality above created the reality above created the reality above. Do you know what I mean? So
and just like for infinity, is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So essentially, if you see like introduction of things like AI and us creating life forms now, and we're almost on the edge of creating simulated worlds that are almost indistinguishable from our reality. How crazy is it to believe that if people become fully immersed in these next realities, that we're not already living in one of those realities that's been created by something higher than us, if that makes sense.
And where do you think we go when we die then?
I think we return to our forms from the reality above. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't really fully thought it through. I think we're trying to collate the ideas and thoughts and then come to a conclusion. But I think we're under the impression that it's a scripted reality as well, and it's a simulated reality, basically.
Who's this guy?
Huh?
Oh, I can hear somebody's voice.
Hmm?
Oh, okay. No, never mind. That's a background video on my my tab right now. It just started playing.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, who's this guy? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Someone else
it
here?
just started playing. He was
Oh
just
my
like, "Hello,
God.
everybody. My name's Dallas." Who's this guy?
Yeah, I was
Everyone,
wondering.
welcome Dallas is here.
Yeah, I was wondering he was he was. I was hearing the noise. I was wondering, is it from my house or Rowan's? But
Yeah, I half expected my mum to walk in, to be honest.
yeah.
But yeah, so what led you to religion originally then? I think I've already asked this question on the other podcast, but
what led me to religion? I'm trying to think back now. I was going through a lot of mental health issues like depersonalization and whatnot. And I just remember, you guys know Zell, right? I was watching one of his videos back in the day and he was just talking about God, and I don't know what it was, something that he was talking about. It just kind of hit me in my soul, if you want to put it like that. And it turned me from an atheist to a believer. And my belief on what happened there was, I believe God he just kind of like opened my eyes to it all. He kind of like made me more conscious of God, because before I would consider myself like an NPC. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of going from day to day, not really thinking too out of the box. But I don't know what it was. In that moment in time, it was almost like God kind of like saved me from the NPC type of thinking. If that makes sense. It sounds crazy, man, but I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean?
no, 100%. I think there's a lot of home truths in like the Bible and things like that, and I think possibly it was written by people who knew the original creator of this reality, and it just explains perfectly how we should operate in this reality to achieve the best result, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It's like the guidelines to this reality. So yeah, no, I can completely understand where you're coming from there. Do you pray regularly then?
Oh yeah, I'd pray like every morning, every night, and then throughout the day whenever I feel like calling to pray, or whenever I feel like I need protecting from something.
Yeah.
I just call to pray. Like that's where I essentially get most of my knowledge on masculinity as well. It's from the Bible. Like that's where it all kind of came from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What sort of things does the Bible talk about in terms of masculinity?
Well, it's very big on the idea of like, you know, traditional viewpoint, traditional marriage, men being strong, men being providers, leaders, protectors, and then the women falling back into their femininity, being more submissive and just relaxing into their feminine state. I believe like it's the natural way to live. And if you even look into nature, into history, how, you know, like, all right, let's put it like this, right? There's certain tribes in Africa who have not been touched by the BS of the West, right? How do they live their life? It's very natural. The men are the leaders, the providers, the protectors. They go out, they hunt. Then you have the women, they stay back. They're naturally relaxed into their feminine. I don't know if you guys have ever watched the show or the documentary sort of thing that Matt Walsh has made on. It's called What Is a Woman?
I haven't, but I wanted to
No,
watch it. Is that the one that's
I
on the Daily Wire?
Yes. Well, he essentially he went over to one of these tribes in Africa somewhere, and he was asking them like, what if a woman actually thinks they're a man, or what if a man wants to be a woman? And they all thought he was crazy, like,
Yeah.
because they were not programmed, they were not influenced by all of this nonsense.
Yeah.
But they just lived naturally, no questions asked. It was just the natural order to things, and it's represented in the Bible as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I
100%.
think I may have seen it on Twitter actually, on the thread, but yeah, it's crazy how you can go to a tribe and ask if a woman is a man. I mean, we're in 2022, we shouldn't be saying stuff like that. That's the world we
Yeah,
live in.
man. It's the world we live in, bro.
Yeah,
But even if you went back 100 years, if you said that to someone on the streets, they'd be like, are you on crack? Are you all right? Need to see someone? But yeah, it's like today's day and age. If you go and ask people random questions, I don't know if you've seen those, like people like in America go ask random kids questions about the world and what's going on, and they have no idea about anything. So they must be so easily programmable to just at this point, essentially, people could just be told anything is true and they would believe it as gospel fact, which is slightly worrying. And I do genuinely think it's because of taking God out of the equation, or a belief in a God figure.
Absolutely. Like if
Yeah.
you don't believe in something, you can fall for anything.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And I also think with the rise of social media, the chase for validation, we as humans, we like validation. It's just built within us, to try to receive validation from the tribe, right? With the rise of social media now, our tribe has expanded like so much. We look out to the whole world now, because we're looking at everybody's lives through this phone, and we all want to be validated. So we will not go against what is set as the norm. We do not want to be seen as the outsider, the outlier. And that is essentially why I've got my name, Outlier. Don't be afraid to be the outlier, stand out and have your own beliefs and go against what the norm is today, because the norm will lead you down a dark path. Yeah. Go towards the light, my friend. Yeah.
100%. On the note of like the Bible and God versus Satan, I think it's interesting that Satan is often represented as like almost the invert of Jesus Christ, and then you have all the things that's going on in popular culture nowadays, where it's like they're trying to invert everything. So it's almost this promotion of Satan on the big stage and a manifestation coming. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any,
Oh,
any
that's
thoughts
a
on
good
that?
point. I see it everywhere. It's in everything, right? What's your thoughts on, like music artists in the music industry? Every time they get big, they blow up, right? They get all this fame out of nowhere. Why do they have to kind of put down God? Why do they have to put down the idea of God? Like, for example, just one off the top of my head, Lil Nas X. He became famous and suddenly he's lap dancing on the devil, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it's with so many artists if you look into it. Yeah. Like another one off the top of my head is Katy Perry. I believe it's Katy Perry. Yeah, bro, she is so satanic. It's it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I think we, like us on this channel, we subscribe to the idea that a lot of it is a cult, and it's often I don't know if necessarily they're conscious of it. I think they think that it's just some cool hip, like, oh my God, we're going against the system. We're going against God and Christianity in the USA and how it was established, fuck the patriarchy, whatnot. But I think deep down, there's people that are controlling behind the scenes, and they understand that it's almost like this occult thing. And I think people, whether they are aware of it or not, are essentially trying to upend the ideas of God. I think there's always been a pushback. There's always been this fight between Satan and God, where one's trying to best the other, and I think they have different ways of manipulating and showing their like ideas on the big stage. And obviously, like they say, like Satan's the god of music, and that's typically where he manifests, like through music videos and things like that. But I think to some degree, it is like a representation of people knowing occult things, like hidden knowledge. And they put it in the faces of the masses as sort of not mockery, but like, we know these things. And potentially they believe in magic and having these sigils, like symbols and things in the videos, almost gives power to whatever they believe in. It's going to make it manifest into reality. So I don't like, God wouldn't necessarily give you the magic tool, but it's like a promise from Satan, essentially saying that if you worship me, I will give you all of Earth's jewels and things. But it's often quite shallow. So that's how it. I do genuinely subscribe to the idea of like God and Satan, but not necessarily in biblical terms. It's hard to explain. I think it manifests in different ways, and I think there is a lot of truth to it, but I don't think he's an actual guy. I think it's just the two opposing forces working side by side, if that makes sense. It's really hard to say.
What energies outside this reality? That's how I see it.
100. Yeah.
That's how I see it as well. Like, yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think, yeah, like Lil Nas X twerking on the devil and things, I think that's an awful representation to children.
Nice.
And it's weird that gets promoted in popular media and people are applauding it and saluting it and thinking that's such a great, especially for a Christian country as well. You'd have thought there'd be a lot more uproar than that.
It's not a Christian country anymore.
Oh no, 100%. But it's founded on Christian morals, and so is the UK.
Yeah.
So is the UK. But it's very weird, and I think it's just bizarre more than anything. And then you have people talking about actual issues like men's issues and trying to return to nature. You almost get cancelled and called you a conspiracy theorist. I remember seeing a meme a while ago where it was like it was during the COVID times, and it was like a picture of people in hazmat suits walking around with like sanitizer sprays and things like that, and it was like normal people, and then there was a picture below, like a frame below, of people like collecting fruits and things like that and walking in nature, and it was like conspiracy theorist. So it's like, how have we veered so far off the path of normalcy now that we just subscribe to these backwards ideas? I don't know, but I don't think the music industry helps at all.
Yeah. Well, the music industry in general is just spell casting that they put on the masses. And like going back to Lil Nas, I think there's one picture I saw this morning with him, and he has the shoe which has the Luke 10:18 verse. Mostly we know that verse is Satan fell from heaven or something like that. So it's just crazy, man. Like if you're a Christian, like, you just get frustrated at seeing that this is what's popular now. Like Satanism almost. Like you see a rise in Satanism too.
Well, I think it's their own choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they want to go down that path, look, go for it.
Yeah. But there's the verse in the Bible that says, "What is it to gain the world at cost of your soul," or something like that. You might know.
What is it to gain the world if you're gonna lose your soul? Yeah, I know that one. Yeah. I just like the whole morals and the values to it all, to the Bible. I think it keeps you in a good masculine state as a man.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good book to follow, essentially. Like, even let's just throw it out there, even if it's false, right? Let's say there's not an ounce of truth in it. I would still think it's a good book to follow. I'd still live my life based around that because of how it makes me feel and how I think society would benefit from this way of, going about the world.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, I would agree too. And we've talked about initially the fall of masculinity, how the NPCs nowadays, they're finished now. Like there's nothing they can do, man. But I feel like we live in a dualistic world, so I feel like we should touch on maybe perhaps the rise of masculinity as in a sense and I think self-improvement is one of the biggest reasons for that in the future there'll be a small rise in masculinity. I think going back to the connection with the snake and the Ouroboros that Rowan talked about, that in the occult it represents death and rebirth. That's how I see self-improvement. It's essentially the death of your old self to you being reborn. Kevin, like you, through self-improvement, you became a Christian again, and Christianity has its own story of being born again. So seeing occult symbolism and religion showing the same story is quite crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, every young man should go down this path if they want to better themselves, if they want a better life for themselves. You know, I see it as two roads to go down. The modern road or pave your own path, yeah. The modern road will just lead to darkness, and I don't really see a good way out for anybody. You're creating a weak generation. Your kids will grow up to become weak, and your whole bloodline will just be weak, and it will end off someday. It will be overthrown by the strong, where you can take control of your life now, pave your own path, and yeah, help your bloodline survive. That's how I see it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. I do think a lot of people not perish, but that sounds like the wrong word. People will definitely suffer for a good 1,000 years, but it's about survival of the fittest at the end of the day, and people are more adaptable and will be willing to change. Yeah,
for sure. And, one of the gatekeepers, pun intended, Kevin, but for the rise of masculinity, Andrew Tate. He's obviously uplifting the modern man. To some extent, he's often, gets accused of being misogynistic, which, let's be honest, it's completely false. And every woman that accuses Andrew Tate, the first thing that pops up in their head is misogynistic. It's like they went on Google and saw that's the first word they see. But like going back to the snake itself, Andrew Tate himself has a snake tattoo, which I found interesting. And he's obviously doing his best to make the man more masculine.
Yeah,
it's Cobra Tate, and that's his nickname, I think.
Yeah.
Like, unmatched perspicacity coupled with my sheer integrity. I can't fucking say it. Can't speak.
What did you say?
Got too much of a bum nose. I'm gonna do the thing he says, but I can't do it because my nose is too blocked, I think.
What's your guys' overall thoughts on Andrew Tate, what he's doing and who he is? Do you think he's necessarily good for people or what?
I think it's a bit of both, really. I completely understand where he's coming from. I think he speaks a lot of facts. The only thing I disagree with him about is essentially having multiple partners, because I think we should try and preserve the family more than anything. And I think it kind of gets a bit diluted, does the family, if you start to add in a lot of people into the equation. I think what he's saying in premise is completely true and in touch with nature, but yeah, I think we should be more promoting the family dynamic more than being selfish and trying to have multiple partners. Do you know what I mean? And you should dedicate yourself to one individual person. But yeah, no, I think I prefer more Tristan, just because I think Tristan's a bit more level-headed, personally. I think Andrew's more of the guy who's like, he's good for camera, he's a good character, and he's funny to listen to because he says some really outlandish stuff, which is often contained some home truths, but Tristan's a lot more level-headed and explains it from a more rational point of view. I think, though, Andrew Tate is a net positive for men in general. What do you think?
Yeah, Andrew Tate, I'll say both good and bad in a sense. More positive than negative, of course, but in terms of the modern man, he's making men more masculine, but I feel like his ego sometimes it may fuel the modern man to think a certain way. Like I feel like he sets unrealistic. There is unrealistic expectations of what a man should be like. So if they see Andrew Tate on the scene, they might think this is how I should be. Like he often talks about sleeping with multiple women, which again is just absolute nonsense. But on the polar opposite, he talks good things about how to beat depression and how you should be strong and all that positive messages that he presents. And yeah, man, I think overall he's a positive to society. I just think sometimes it's down to the individual to take the good and the bad, take the positive from what he says and neglect the negative. But that's for like any level-headed individual.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think in one of your first podcast episodes, you were going in on Andrew Tate. I think the numerology behind his name,
Yeah, yeah.
and I can't quite remember what it was, but there was something to do with his name and the elites, Freemasons, or am I tripping?
Yeah. So basically, I was showing the synchronicity. Flo just mentioned before, like he say we live in a scripted reality. So I was just showing the synchronicity that perhaps matched his name to the date that he was born. So like that was what I was trying to show there. He was a pretty organic sync that perhaps shows that maybe Andrew Tate's life may be scripted, not by him, by energies outside this reality.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Like seeing how he blew up, like he was the most popular person for such a long time. Yeah, I wouldn't rule anything out. It's interesting.
Yeah.
He always
But
says that his dad was a CIA agent. Sorry, go on.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. That's what it says anyway. Andrew Tate says his dad was a CIA agent.
Crazy.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, you never know. Like even when he was a young guy, like a teenager, he was brought onto these big TV shows and whatnot to do things. He always kind of had that popularity around him. My question is, how did he get that from a young age? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm probably just thinking too much into it. Like, yeah.
No, you could be completely right, but whether that is the fault of the elites or if it's just completely organic and the reality needs someone to go against the elite. You know what I mean? Like there has to be an opposing force. Otherwise, there wouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Could just be speculating. You could say it's controlled opposition, or you could argue that it's completely organic and natural for it to occur. Going all day about it, to be honest. Like, could be anything.
Yeah, it's like if Andrew Tate never spoke, the modern man would still be living in weakness. More people would not realized that they need to be more masculine. So whether he's controlled or not, it doesn't matter for me. It's just what message is he spreading out. Mostly he mostly spreads a positive message. That's all that matters at the end of the day. We want men to be more masculine, and that's what he's doing. So salute him for that and let him keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Big facts.
Yeah.
Well then, Gombe, have you got any more questions?
No, I haven't got any questions. Have you?
No. Do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Can do. Do you want to talk about your channel or anything, Kevin? Just so people know and you can promote yourself.
Well, if you have made it to this far of the video, I want to say thanks for watching. Yeah. My channel is just basically about, it's sort of like the mix between God, self-improvement, and purpose. So if those topics interest you, be sure to check me out, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Awesome. And be sure to check out his Gatekeepers podcast, because that is they have a range of guests on there.
Gatekeepers, Gate. All right, a lot of people be saying, gatekeepers. make sure it's Gate. All right.
Yeah.
We're all inclusive over here, darling.
Yeah. Man. Don't want any gay people on there. They'll get offended.
Yes.
But anyways, lads, thanks for having me on. Like I thought that this was a very good video. Like,
No,
I like
agree.
stuff in this.
I agree.
I really like this, lads, and I like what you are doing. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have you got work now?
I've got work soon enough at 4 o'clock. So yeah.
Oh, enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy, brother.
Quick cold shower and we're ready to go. Let's go.
Cold shower. What do you
Yeah.
do? You're working in a fast food place, you say?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Do you take the seed oils out of the food before you put it in the fryer?
I wish I could. I wish I could. Apparently, if you use olive oil in the thing, it will set up in flames. So we have to use seed oils.
Really? It's terrible,
Yeah.
man. I feel like that's an excuse at the end of the day.
Probably is.
Why?
Yeah.
Olive oil is much more expensive, though, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you'd lose a
Yeah.
lot of money. You'd lose a lot of profit, but
I
you'd
mean,
be saving lives. So.
can you
Yeah.
make fast food with olive oil?
There probably is a way to do it, but
Yeah.
it's just much more expensive,
Yeah. People are broke, so they don't want to spend a little extra money on olive oil, even though it's much
Yeah.
healthier.
Where is it you work? Just to, if you don't want to answer that question, you don't have to.
What's that?
Where, like, what fast food place is it? Is it a popular place, or is it just like a low key fast food
Oh,
place?
it's just like a what would you call it? Like a private owned business. It's an
Oh, right,
Italian
okay.
restaurant. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Hospitality business is fun, to be fair. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, boys, closing message. Don't eat seed oils.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, it's been a good episode, and hope you guys enjoy it. So yeah, that's it for us, and yeah, I've still got a bit of work to do, but I'm
Smogging.
yeah, my physique and it still
We'll
needs
all get
work,
there.
but yeah, we'll all get
We'll
there.
all get there.
Yeah.
We're all gonna make it.
Physique
Yes.
competition. Deadline soon.
Headline soon, boys. Let's go.
Who's gonna win that?
Who's gonna
Probably not
win?
me.
Whoever
Probably
made
not
the
me.
most gains. Yeah.
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 All right.
Are you in
boys.
it?
Thanks. Am I in it? I can't be in my own competition, bro.
Well, yeah. Let's just end it there. So yeah, guys.
Let's end it, boys. Yeah.
Yeah. See you next week, lads.
Peace.
Peace.